Hello and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. This is your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is Black Minds News. Today's date, July 23rd, 2019. And this show, Black Minds News, is to transmit, articulate, communicate, relate, unveil, decode, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, websites, or quotes from publications. As I articulate these information, I accept the creator of the universe, be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people which they call this land, the United States, we, the DNA, the genealogical bloodline, the historicalness, and what they call now the foundational Black Americans of this land, we who call ourselves BADOS, Black American descendant of slaves, or Black African descendant of slaves. Others say ADOS, American descendant of slaves. We, those, give honor to our ancestors. And you know what my motto is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. Well, we're going to go into Louisiana. I wouldn't think it would be not fitting right to call myself Black Minds News and not touch the story. Due to the simple fact I've been caught up with so much other things I did not pay homage. You know that the motto to the show is remembrance is freedom. know I'm a little late, but sometimes they say late is better than never. So we're going to give to this story in Louisiana, and stay tuned for this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing? Again, this is Mr. Blows Your Minds coming with another Black Minds production. First and foremost, I want to say what's good to the fam out there, those who are avid participants of the show, subscribers to the show, and my new subscribers. Hey, what's up, y'all? Glad that you go over here. Passerbys, if you should just happen to pass by and stumble across the most hidden show that's hidden, tucked away, hidden in the corner of the internet, welcome. Go through my library, see some things you like. If you should happen to see something that just may get up under your skin, just remember this. The truth don't need no partner. And we welcome you over here to Black Minds News. You can subscribe, share, comment, subscribe. Now let's get into this here, right? So again, as I said, as I was in the introduction, I was talking about the simple fact that, again, being tied up and didn't get it. I knew about the story, but it wouldn't be right for me as Black Minds News not to give any kind of commemoration for the life this individual has given, right? For those people specifically in the Baton Rouge area, they're mourning the loss of this individual here. And let me give you this first before I get into more of it first, and then I'll come back after that, right? And then we'll get into it. So check this out and be right back.
Louisiana police are investigating the mysterious death of a beloved civil rights activist in Baton Rouge's Black community. The body of 75-year-old Sadie Roberts Joseph was found in the trunk of a car on Friday, not far from the history museum that she founded almost 2 decades ago. CTM national correspondent Jerika Duncan is outside the museum in Baton Rouge with more on this story. Jerika, this is so shocking. She's 75 in the trunk of a car. This does not sound random at all. How is the community reacting?
The community is heartbroken, and as you mentioned, just how she was found is what makes it even more eerie. But this museum was her pride and joy. It's small, it's colorful, it's currently boarded up, but it played a major role in this community. A lot of people have stories about Miss Roberts, Sadie Roberts, and she said things like, education is important, a Nelson Mandela quote behind us. She also talked about the importance of education. Right now, police say they are not calling this a murder, but they're asking for anyone with information to help them. Sadie Roberts Joseph was a tireless advocate for peace in her Baton Rouge community. City leaders say the museum she founded was designed to bring the past to life.
To embrace our history, to learn of our past, and to be able to move forward in unity.
On Friday, police say Roberts Joseph's body was found in the trunk of a car located on a residential street about 3 miles from her home and some 2 miles from her museum. Authorities have not said how she died or who owns the car. In an online post, the Baton Rouge Police Department paid tribute to Roberts Joseph, calling her a treasure to our community and adding detectives are working diligently to bring the person or persons responsible for this heinous act to justice.
This particular crime on this particular individual left me empty.
State Representative C. Denise Marcel posted a remembrance on Facebook, calling Roberts Joseph an amazing woman who loved her history.
She wanted to show you your history. She wanted you to touch your history. She wanted you to feel your history.
Roberts Joseph recently hosted the city's annual Juneteenth celebration, commemorating the emancipation of slaves in the South. She also founded a local organization aimed at combating drugs and violence. Baton Rouge Mayor-President Sharon Weston Broome says her commitment to the cultural and educational fabric of our community is beyond description. Those who loved her hope her legacy will live on.
Embrace diversity, learn of our history, and that's the only way we're going to be able to heal.
Roberts Joseph was known and quoted for saying things like, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. The mayor has offered a $5,000 cash reward for any information leading to an arrest and indictment. Anthony?
She's clearly left a strong legacy, but that is a big mystery there, Jerika. Thank you.
Anthony, I don't know how a body found in a car is not called a murder.
Well,
I know there's more to the story, but it's very stunning.
It certainly looks that way.
Yeah.
No, that's right, because that was the first thing on my mind. What you mean, not a murder? How can somebody be found in the back of a trunk of a car? And they didn't specify and say that it was her car. But let me tell you something what it says in the law about murder. It says murder is the unlawful killing of a human being by another with malice or forethought, either express or implied. The crime is defined by statutes in most states, right? It says criminal homicide constitute murder when it is committed purposely or knowingly. It is committed recklessly under circumstances manifesting extreme indifferences to the value of the human life. Such recklessness and indifference are presumed if the actor is engaged or is an accomplice in the commission or an attempt to commit or flight after committing or attempting to commit robbery, rape, or deviate sexual intercourse by force or threat or force of arson, right? So maybe that's what they're trying to say. Well, maybe criminal homicide. But then when it's all said and done, we'll say murder's the case that they're going to give you, right? Now, again, her name, again, was Sadie Roberts Joseph. She was 75 years old. Very prominent community activist for those who are in the Baton Rouge area of Louisiana, knew her very well. She is the founder of the museum that you've seen that somehow it seems to be boarded up, the African American History Museum that she established in 2001. Has a lot of African arts. She did a lot of storytelling there. They also had, I think, the bust of the civil rights that was used during that time, right? She's also had an organization that fought against drugs and violence. She was the one that brought the commemoration. I won't say she brought, but I'm just saying she celebrated Juneteenth. Because, again, Juneteenth, for those on this show, know that Juneteenth started in Texas. But a lot of people, they pick it up and they use it as a way to do some commemoration and remembrance and a way to infuse people of Black American descendants with some kind of pride for history or some remembrance of history. And she strongly was an advocate of knowing about your history. And, as Black Minds News, I do a lot of that as well, right? And it gives those who've been watching the show, you've seen as slowly the channel is slowly formatted into another way to broaden the perspective of what I do over here, right? So again, what we see is that Sadie Roberts Joseph was found in the trunk of a car, right? Now, accordingly, the sister said that she had came over to her house. She was trying to cook her some cornbread, right? And somehow her oven went out. And based on the fact that her oven went out, she went over to her sister's house to, use her oven so she could bake her cornbread. And somehow she left before the bread was done, because according to the articles it talks about, the sister said that the cornbread is still there. So that's kind of going to be like, the last thing that she did that's going to be kind of for the sister, right? And so they end up, again, to find her in a trunk of a car 3 miles from her home. But the funny part is, how did the police find her in the car, right? That's where the mystery is, right? How could a woman, again, I'm pretty sure after a period of time she didn't come back, the sister, made her calls and so forth. You didn't get all that yet, and so they were the one that found the car, right? Right? And, so let me show you this now. That doesn't happen after this fact. So let me give you this now, right? Let me give you this part, right? So check this out now. Give you the next part. Check this out. I'll be right back.
We're going to begin with this. In Louisiana, police are hunting for suspects in the murder of a beloved local civil rights activist. The East Baton Rouge coroner yesterday ruled the death of Sadie Roberts Joseph a homicide. She died of suffocation. The 75-year-old body was found in the trunk of her car 4 days ago. Errol Burnett is in Baton Rouge at the museum Roberts Joseph founded almost 2 decades ago. Errol, good morning. What's the latest on this case?
Good morning. Just to give you a sense of how sacred Sadie Roberts Joseph is, a state lawmaker is collecting donations right now to keep her museum open. You see the main structure behind me, this trolley, a part of it as well. Her body was discovered about 2 miles from here, and medical examiners are looking at it closely to try and understand what happened to her in her final hours on Friday.
Investigators say community activist Sadie Roberts Joseph died from traumatic asphyxia, including suffocation, not long after she visited her family. CBS News spoke with Pat McAllister LaDuff, her niece.
We have to find out who did this. She can't go down like this. She don't deserve this.
Roberts Joseph's family says the 75-year-old stopped by her sister's house Friday to bake a southern staple, cornbread. Just hours later, her body was found inside her own vehicle's trunk in a residential neighborhood. Police now looking for potential witnesses to that crime.
The fact that somebody would even do this to her, it's disturbing. It really is.
She made everybody feel good about themselves to let you know that you can carry on, and we're going to miss that.
Her brother described Roberts Joseph as selfless.
She would always do a favor for people. It was never too much to do.
But he says she was best known for her local contributions. She began her African American Museum in 2001. It includes artwork and historic items like this bus from the 1953 Baton Rouge bus boycotts. This video shows Roberts Joseph at this year's annual Juneteenth celebration, which she hosted for years in Baton Rouge to commemorate the emancipation of slaves in the South. News of Roberts Joseph's death has rocked this community.
She was passionate about preserving this museum and keeping it here for generations to come and enjoy.
Her impact on this city is hard to put into words, but I do think Baton Rouge owes it to her to make certain that this legacy of hers remains.
Now, the police are remaining very tight-lipped. They cite this ongoing investigation. The city is offering $5,000 to information leading to an arrest or an indictment. And consider this, the family is fearful that if a suspect is announced but not in custody, the community may seek its own justice. And Jerika, there is a vigil here tonight.
Wow, Errol, thank you. What a beautiful spirit she was.
All right. So as I said prior to that, now they said that it was her own car, right? So originally when they said the story, they had said that found in a car. Why they say in her car, right? So question becomes, was she by herself when she went to her sister's house, right? Was she by herself? Because if the last place, accordingly, that, again, we don't know the time span between her being at the house with her sister, then her leaving, right? And how long after the fact before the sister got word that she couldn't find her. So when they said that the police found the car, originally I was trying to say, well, wait a minute. How did you find the car if nobody had called you? So, put two and two together, 1 and 1 makes 2, right? And so it had to be the fact that her car. So they found her in her car. So that would mean that either somebody followed her or somebody was with her. That's the way, if I was looking at it, that's how I would look at it, right? And so again, we see that how the devastation that a spirit like Miss Sadie Robert Joseph has on the community and the impact she did is so profound that, again, doing something that is very commendable. And again, one of the hardest jobs as a black person is to teach black people that you ain't free. You know what I'm saying? Let me say that again. The hardest job for a person who advocates on behalf of black people is trying to make black people understand that you're not free and that there's a lot of work to be done, even though you may, get some education, may own some, some tangible properties and things of that, and may have a little change in your pocket. But again, are you looking at it as an individual? Or are you looking at it in the entirety as a collective people? And so with that being said, we see that this individual here, her light that shined on a lot of people. Because again, we're living in a lot of ignorance out here. There's a lot of ignorance out here, especially what we're seeing, if we're going to say teams, right? On the oppositional team, we're seeing a lot of things that had been seen to been like people thought post-slavery, right? Just like when you've seen in the video that you've seen them show Barack Obama. Now, everybody has their own view about that, how you believe in that. Some of us will say that there was a Trojan horse, right? What it appeared like, looked like, but, in substance to, him being in that position, what did you garner from it is the question. And some people will debate about that. Now, teach his own on that. But she felt like he had, again, more about imagery than it was about substance, right? So anyway, here's the individual again. She always advocated about history and knowing about who thyself is, right? And trying to bring the positivity into a dark situation amongst those who she could put her light upon, right? Where it says, can I put a light over a basket, right, to hide the light? Because the light will still shine this light and burn the basket. So you have to say, who would benefit for her being demised? Or is this just random, right? Was it random? Or did something or somebody decide that this would be, beneficial? Maybe you were doing too much. You know how they say you're doing too much, right? Some people, they don't say it, but again, the powers of being, sometimes the people behind the curtain might be saying, you doing too much, right? And so again, sometimes you can find a patsy. Now, am I saying that this individual you're about to see here, according to what the story tell you, is or not? I don't know. But they do have a motive. And I'm saying, well, damn, with somebody with this kind of, magnitude in the community, would you want to put yourself in that situation? Is based on what this person is advocacy for. Can you have worked it out? But then listen to what some of the stuff that's being said, and then I'll come back. Check this out, and I'll be right back. Okay, one more here.
There has been a major break in the investigation into the death of a beloved African-American activist in Baton Rouge. Her body was found in the trunk of her car. A short time ago, authorities now announcing they have a suspect in custody and what they've now learned. Here's ABC's Alex Perez.
Tonight, police announcing an arrest in the murder of beloved Baton Rouge civil rights leader Sadie Roberts Joseph.
We received so many phone calls from the community when they learned it was Miss Sadie.
Ron Jermaine Bell, a convicted sex offender, has been charged with first-degree murder.
We believe Ron Bell was a tenant in one of her rent houses. We believe that he was behind several months on his rent.
The 75-year-old's body was found Friday, stuffed in the trunk of her car. In addition to creating the city's Black History Museum, Roberts Joseph spent decades working to educate people. Tonight, a shattered community and her daughter vowing to protect her legacy.
For those who were and are angry, live a better life. Give of yourself to your community to make the whole better.
David, the suspect has not yet entered a plea. Investigators do not believe she was the victim of a hate crime or targeted because of her activism. David?
Alex Perez with us tonight as well. Thank you, Alex.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube.
All right. So we end up finding that this individual here who was alleged to have killed Miss Sadie Roberts Joseph, name is Ron Jermaine Bell. He's 38 years old. He was arrested on that Tuesday. They charged him with first-degree murder, right? And he is being held in East Baton Rouge Parish Jail. And I guess it says unclear if he has a representation. But again, the article that I had just read, and I will relate some of the information to you about that. Look at the defense that they're trying to use. So anyway, we see that accordingly that this alleged person, Ron Jermaine Bell, was a tenant in one of Mrs. Joseph's dwellings, right? And accordingly, they said that he was behind about $1,200 in rent. Now, we don't know how much his rent is. So according to what we heard, they said several months behind in rent. But I thought something was kind of, that stuck out about what they said with this individual. They said that he was did they say pedophile? Child? Did I not hear that? Did you not hear that as well? So again, here is an individual where other people may not give you that kind of opportunity and try to help you. Now, again, this is allegedly because we don't know until all the facts is, again, could this be a patsy? You know what I'm saying? Here's the motive about rent. Right? Was she going to be that stern with you that she's going to throw you out? You understand? Or could this be the patsy that is going to be used? Because, again, we don't know all the ins and outs and all the things that was going on. Again, they were already ruling out that it was nothing else other than maybe just this, right? Again, we don't know. Because, again, she doing a lot, right? And, again, crime pays for democracy, right? You got to have a segment of society dysfunctional so that a lot of these organizations that are not-for-profit and so forth that make their business on the degradation of a people who've been actually deemed to be this in society, who are trying to come and raise themselves up out there. Because again, a lot of people like to believe that if everybody goes to school and everybody got a job, then, and it's just be like the same thing, if everybody obeyed and didn't break any damn laws, they couldn't write tickets. And if you can't write tickets, then how the hell are they paying these judges, state's attorneys, sheriffs, you understand? Correctional, you understand? Without them, so again, sometimes you got to fabricate, right? We see that, we'll tell it to the judge, right? You go through a situation, damn well, situation ain't what it is, but you tell it to the judge, let him figure it out. I just got to write these tickets. I got to prove my love to this badge, right? And so the same thing here, right, is the fact that, $1,200 for a person like that, somehow you can work it out. Or maybe, again, she can use her ties to maybe help you get, but again, under the situation that you might be under, you might be, what they say, SOL, shit out of luck, right? Because again, you've been deemed and stamped with the scarlet letter that a lot of people don't want you around because you can't be around children. So again, we have to say allegedly, we don't know yet. But let me tell you something that they said about, in this case, about him being arrested. Now, this is something very interesting I've seen. Now, again, the man that was arrested again, as I just told you, slaying of the community activist Sadie Roberts Joseph, Ron Jermaine Bell, and hold on, they were asking for, I think I got the wrong one. Here it is. They want to know the suspect's DNA was planted on her body, right? Now, this is something that came up on July 19th, right? And they said the attorney for the man accused of killing Sadie Roberts is now questioning whether it's possible police could have illegally seized his DNA and planted it on her body just hours before obtaining an arrest warrant. Roberts Joseph, a civil rights activist and founder of the Baton Rouge African American History Museum, was discovered suffocated and left in the trunk of her car last weekend, right? And they go on and they talk about the $1,200, right? So the motive that an individual that's, again, she's helping you big time. You know who she is in the community. Do we have people in our communities that are just, will do what they got to do? Do every community have people like that, right? Or every ethnicity of people have that? We have to say yes, right? But in the condition you in, where you think you're going to be able to hide and go if you do that, right? If your whole outlook on life is to stay your ass up out of there, right? Then why would you put yourself? Because again, certain things are going to lead up to you. So the question becomes, they said they went and cut my man's hair, took the DNA sample before they got the arrest warrant, then come back later and said that his DNA was at the scene, or according to this attorney. Now again, who's representing him? Are you telling me that he got one, he got a court appointed attorney that, you know what I'm saying? So how much money gonna be spent on that? But is that what you're gonna try to use? And again, like I say, could he be a patsy? We don't know, and possibly could be. We don't know, because we don't know all the ins and outs, because again, they said dead people can't talk. So again, I just wanted to bring some light, and again, put some questions for those, again, who are avid watchers of this show, Black MINDZ News, that if you didn't know about Miss Sadie Roberts Joseph, 75 years old, found stuffed in a trunk and suffocated. And supposedly this individual here, allegedly, this Ron, what's Ron's name? What's his name again? Okay, let's see his name again. But I guess it's maybe not that important, right? So anyway, so that's it. What it is, right? So kind of sad, but again, that's what it is. Like black folks who really out here trying to put that work in to do, they say it's the hardest job, right? It's trying to get people to wake up, because again, sleep is comfortable. If I get you wake up, you got to do something, right? And so hopefully the truth gets found out. Otherwise, this individual going to have to take it whether he wants to or not. And the truth will never be found out at this point in time. So again, Black MINDZ News, again, as you see on your screen, remembrance is freedom. We give Sadie Roberts Joseph remembrance. And hopefully the legacy that she has established for those of Louisiana will maintain it, because it seemed like they were already having issues. They had to board up. So there were some issues going on, maybe financially, economically there, right? So it's going to be incumbent on Louisiana to do what they need to do to maintain her legacy. This is Black MINDZ News. I'm Mr. Blows Your Mind, your host, and thank you for watching this production. And so those, again, you know what you got to do. This is how you show your participation over here, is that you let me hold a little something, right? Let a brother hold something, right? And then we're going to be up out of here. And first and foremost, before I get up out of here, I want to say, love, peace, and all that good stuff. See one another, give that universal, what's up, what's good, sister, brother. We got to love each other once again. We got away from that. And due to the simple fact of what we're going through, again, when they talk about uniforms, and not so much about trying to be on separate teams. What this is about the unification, because, again, the energy and spirit that is being shown lately, right? People chanting, people showing effigies and things of that nature, showing what really hides up under the sheets, if you want to use it analytically that way, right? So it's being reared in its head. And so there's going to be a divide amongst them, those, again, that say they not like that. I think you're going to have to get out here and fight against those who are like that. And in the between time, we have to find some way to protect ourselves just in case you don't and can't and won't. So again, peace, love, and hair grease and all that good stuff. Until the next show, y'all. Stay vigilant, stay black, and with love always.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything. Can you feel it?
Luther and I and everyone in this arena tonight are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, and it definitely was not prepared for black people to in the end begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the world.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saying 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin.
They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu, all white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the sixth version.
5 months before me. 3, 4. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything like my friend. Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
Well, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? It knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you."